Welcome to a True Underground Story podcast. I'm your host, Timmy Burner. Today I'm with OnlyJay.Q. So tell people a bit about yourself. Where are you from?
All right, so I was born in Chicago, raised in St. Louis, so I got roots in both. Been making music all my life. It's almost a part of me. I'm also an athlete. I'm also a model. I dabble in many things, but music is where my heart's at.
So tell me a little bit about your childhood. How long were you there in Chicago before moving to St. Louis?
So I would say probably around mm, about to 5, then moved to St. Louis for a little bit. And that's where I started, where my roots are, is my mom is a singer, and she's a Christian singer. So I was always involved in the church heavily, and that's where I got the love for writing my own music, and I got to rap on the stage a lot because they had such a developed performing arts program. I was, at a young age getting very high levels of experience in that, in writing, in working with other artists. So it's just you know, moved down to St. Louis and kind of got on a roll from there.
Um, so you were in the church a lot. What else? Tell me a little bit more about what your childhood was like growing up in St. Louis.
Okay, so I was an athlete and I was a good athlete. So it was but I wasn't always an athlete. At first, I always had love for music. So at first I started dancing, and it was off of You Got Served. That was my movie, man. That was my movie. I still could bust a move, but then I became I started playing basketball. I played basketball every. It was like the summer of my 8th grade year when I really started taking it serious. I went outside every day, just trying to train myself because I was behind. All the other kids that played, they kind of had an edge on me, and I'm the type of athlete I am, the type of person I am. I don't like when people have an edge on me. I want to be the best. So I would train every day, and basketball was my life back then. It was music was always there, but basketball was my main priority. And so I end up not actually making my freshman team, and then worked even harder. Then I played the rest, ended up being in my conference and division, ended up being first team all state, first team all region, honorable mention all nation. Um, it was in the all-star game. So it was I was really dedicated. Then I had a coach that had been in contact with me. I had other offers, but this coach had been in contact with me since I was since the beginning, since when I really started getting noticed. So it was he kind of had a head start on the other coaches, and I went with him. So I ended up going to play at Blackburn College in this small town in Illinois. It was a great experience. But the crazy thing is, after that, I think I came home my freshman year, and that's when I recorded my first song. So I had been making music that whole time, just writing, but I
Right.
recorded my first song after my freshman year at college. And I put it out, and it did numbers. And I was I really like doing this. This is something I could see myself always doing, just making music and creating vibes and feelings, because it's music is expression. So if I can create something that can, express how I'm feeling, or even get other people to relate, and they understand through my expression, it's man, then I'm doing something.
You've been making music your whole life. How did you come about your stage name of OnlyJay.Q?
Okay. So I go by many names. The one and only. That's why I'm the OnlyJay.Q. That's one of them. That was actually a nickname given to me. Um, I used to be the finale. That not as like a rap name, but like just names I've had like throughout my life. Jay Easy. That was one of the like my freshman year. My sophomore year. That was the nickname they gave me my basketball team because it was too easy. But there's like the name J.Q comes from so many things, but mainly a lot of people think it's a part of my name, but the Q stands for quality because that's the kind of person I want to be in life. That's the kind of artist I want to be. That's the kind of man I want to be. The Q is something that means a lot to me because it's like when I going through life, it's all about finding yourself. And when I found out that was like I found out, all right, like who do I want to be at the end of my life, which is still ever changing. But when I really like just got like just a point, I was like, man, I want to be quality. I want to have everything around me be quality. I want to live to a certain standard and have the people around me live to a certain standard. So that's where the Q came in. Um, Shoot, and then it's so much, and you're gonna see because I do have an album coming. When that is out, you're gonna really understand the Q and the J because there's a period in there for a reason, and I can't say too much. But when the album comes out, you're gonna see.
You mentioned being an athlete. You also ran track as well.
Yeah, I'm currently running track for the illustrious Kentucky State University. Yeah, I jump 100, 200, 4x1, 4x4, anything I'm needed to do. Honestly, it's I'm an athlete, but it's also my mindset, and that's why I feel like it's going to take me the furthest in music and in life. Is I have a mindset of I can't fail, and even if I do, I have to get back up because life is going to hit you so many times. If you don't know how to stand on your own, 10 toes, it's gonna be you're gonna have a hard life. So shoot, that's one lesson that music has taught me. One lesson that like being an athlete, being just a person in general, has taught me on your own 10. And when you fall, get back up, dust yourself off, and try again.
What did your mom think when you told her, like, granted, you're still going to college, but what did she think when you told her you want to pursue music professionally?
So my mom was an artist. She traveled to London. She released albums. She knows what it takes, and she knows like what you need to do to get where you want to go. And so she saw my work ethic and my drive, um, and she fully supports me. So it's like having a mom, having a dad, and a family that supports you in your music. It just makes it so much easier to do it because that weight is just off your shoulders. When I dropped my first song, um, I was nervous because I was showing everybody the first half. I was showing everybody the first half of the song, and there was no cursing because I told you my mom was a Christian artist,
Right.
so there was no cursing. And then I dropped the second half. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm gonna get kicked out the house. This is what I'm saying. I'm cursing. Because when you're younger, you don't know how much weight your words hurt. Your words hold. And even still, I'm not gonna say I don't curse. I just limit it because it's like I realize some of that is just making it easier for you to rap. I don't want to have the easiest bar to say. I want to have the best bar to say. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a song, Blessings. It's like I want to be one of those artists where it's like you can't touch my pen. You know what I'm saying? Like what I bring to this table or what I do, that is something like you're gonna have to catch up with, Like, and especially with this album, because my last album was more on the singing side, because I do love to do both. This album, which I've been keeping it a little bit of a secret, is going to be mainly rap driven. And the bars and the punchlines and the things I'm coming with, it's not like what other people are doing. And I know that's a cliche thing to say, but I truly believe it, because it's one, it's real and it's authentic to who I am and who I want to be. And also, it's just smacking, man. I'm just saying, it's just smacking. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't.
Um, so with your mom being like a Christian artist and growing up in a Christian household, what was some of the music that you listened to growing up before like becoming probably old enough to seek out your own music?
I honestly, I was seeking out my own music from a young age, but it was because of movies. Movies would put me on to the good music, and then, but as a kid, I love, like, from the Christian side of things, I love Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond, um, Mary Mary. But like the music I was really listening to, I was listening to 50 Cent. I was definitely listening to 50 Cent, Drake, um, T.I. Who else? Who else? Fat Joe. Oh, I love Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson, one of the best creatives.
Oh yeah.
Kanye West. I used to listen to B.O.B. Man, music. It's like I could go on for a really long time if I named all the artists I used to listen into.
Yeah, no. You're good. You're good.
It's like I would listen to them heavy, because uh, about like the artists I named, the authenticity, like, I don't even know if that's a word, but it's gonna be one today. The like the way they made their music so authentic to who they were is what really hit home for me. Because one thing about me is I never wanted to be anyone else. I only wanted to be me. But like in the world we live in today, it almost throws a, like, you should do this, you should do that. It almost throws that onto you, like, when in all reality, if everyone was being themselves, we would probably live in a much more productive world, because what you have to offer is not going to be the same as what someone else has to offer. It's
Yeah.
like, now if you try to act like someone else, why would anybody want the same thing?
What artist would you say kind of like influenced your sound? Because I've been listening to you since Right or Wrongs, Right or Wrong came out,
Yeah.
and I've noticed that you kind of change your style up with some of your songs. Like Patience is different, way different than Right or Wrong. So I'm just curious, like, what artist would you say influenced your sound?
It's not just one. I would say the artists who had the biggest effect on my sound would be um, Drake, Kanye, and mm, definitely Drake and Kanye, and maybe throw Kendrick in there. It's like I like albums, so I would love how they would, every time they make something, like, create something new. And so, like, with me, I like to make how I feel. And how I feel isn't always going to be the same. Like, you got a right or wrongs where I'm feeling like running it up, or you got a clarity where I'm feeling like, I'm dealing with a heartbreak, or I'm dealing with something. And it's just like being able to express your emotions through song, to me, is just like, it's therapy. So it's like, when I get in that mode of no one can stop me, it affects how I make my music. Or when I'm down, affects how I make my music. And that's one thing I seen in them, was like they do that to an industry extent, whereas I'm going to express me, and whether you like it or not, like, and thankfully people enjoy it. Thankfully people enjoy it. It's like, whether you like it or not, I want to give you Like I want to give you me, you know. And that's one thing. Like just that's just a part of my brand is just I want to promote being yourself to everyone. Like I want everyone to be okay with being themselves, you know.
Yeah. So earlier you were telling me that you also model. How did you get into modeling?
So I got once I got to Kentucky State. A lot of people like were like they asked me if I did or if I wanted to, and I started to realize like I like taking pictures. I like being on the runway. So I did a fashion show with Kentucky State, gearing up to do another one, and then I also want to start doing my own things in modeling because one, I want to start my own clothing brand, and two, I have a lot of friends that have one, and so it's like if I can collab with them, things like that, just model. Like I'm a one thing I am a jack of all trades. Like I like to know how to do a lot of things because it's like my I crave to be the best. So I'll get like if I see something, I'm gonna study it and figure out, all right, how do I get where I need to go? Like how do I do this? Like even golf. I don't really like, I'll play golf every now and then, but I know enough to hit that ball. But I really enjoy just, you know, I enjoy creating, I enjoy learning, so
Yeah.
I feel like both of those two things go together so well because once you really know how to, like, once you know how to learn, because some people think it's simple. Once you know how to learn, you know how to create. As simple as that.
What would you say like kind of drives you creatively to make your music?
Uh, I'd say, like, one thing that drives me is I say pain because it's like I know there's someone in the world that's feeling the same way I am. If I can pick them up with my music, or if I can just like shine the light, tell somebody like this is not the end of the road. I'm gonna do that just because I've been in those places before where it's just like when you're really down and you feel like you don't have another option. It's it hurts, but then you hear something that motivates you, something that pushes you to go and get to where you want to be in life, and it's like, man, if I can get that message throughout like my music to the people, I don't need a number one billboard, all that. If I can change how a person is feeling, that to me is a success. If I can
Yeah.
influence somebody to be better. Yeah.
Um. So you've worked with La Tony
Mm.
quite a few times. You guys have a whole EP together, album together. But what? How did you two end up linking up and meeting?
It's crazy. So one thing about Lil Tony, I love that man to death. One thing about him, that man he loves to create. And I was in the spot. Lil Tony had actually picked me up like when I was down. I don't even think I told him. I was in the spot. I was about ready to like, you know what? I'm done with music. I'm going to focus on just being an athlete. Da 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 da. I think it was during COVID. He invited me to the studio, and I'm like, because I was sometimes as an artist you get, and this is where when I realized I didn't want to just stick in one lane. But sometimes as an artist, when you're just trying to stay in a lane that everybody wants you to be in, you get stuck. And I realized at that point, like after I went and worked with Tony on that EP, because I wasn't making music like that. Like I was making songs, but they weren't like that. So Tony kind of got me out my box and was like, hop on this. I went in there and I did my thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
my confidence, but I did my thing. Tony always does his thing. I love going back and forth with Tony on the verse, but it's like, nah, Tony got me in the studio and we started working, and he was like, yo, we made a song. It was cold, like just cold. And I think it was Steppin'. It was either Step. No, it was Right or Wrongs. It was Right or Wrongs, and we was just like from then on, like I don't work with many artists because I like to work with people who take their business seriously. And for me, I look at this as like this is something I'm passionate about, but it's also something I hope to do as a livelihood. So it's like if I see somebody who has potential but they don't take their business seriously, I'm knowing they gonna try to play with my time. And one thing I don't play with is my time because you can't get it back. And so it's like Tony is like that. He don't play. We go in the studio, his verse is ready. If it's not ready, it's gonna be ready within the hour. So it's like working with that man, that's one of my favorite people to work with. I've also worked with Sonny Savage. I wanted to shout him out. I don't have his music. I don't have that on my main platform or iTunes or Spot. I think it's on SoundCloud, but definitely gonna have to link back up with him because he's the same way. Get straight to it. If you don't have it written, he could freestyle it. That's something I like to do too. But it's like I feel like I'm a go getter. Like I'm a go get it, and I like to work with other go getters.
Yeah. So just for if any artist tunes in to this live or on my YouTube channel, what do you charge for a feature?
For a feature, it's in between two two to 400 for a feature. It's more if we can if we're just doing. I also do swaps, but it all depends on how seriously you take your craft. Because I don't. If you're thinking I'm just going, play, because I like to eat on my features. I like to go crazy. It's like
Right.
so. It really depends. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say between 2 to 400. It really depends on the artist and what's going on, like how they're moving
What would you say has probably been like the hardest thing for you as an artist?
as an artist. Um, ooh, that's a good question. Hardest thing hmm, is the hardest thing for me as an artist is to not overthink. So because I crave like to be the best, because I believe in quality and because of those things, it's like I will listen to something maybe like 50 to 60 times. Like after if I record it, oh, I'm listening to it all day because I want to hear what I can make better. But sometimes as an artist, you overthink and you overdo. So you get into those things and you're just kind of like, all right, now I kind of did too much on it. Now, where do I scale it back? So it's just like finding that perfect mixture of like, all right, this is that. Like I just did that. Like finding that perfect mixture, that's one of the hardest things for me, especially because I want to make it the best I can make it. So I do a lot
To counter that, what would you say has probably been the most rewarding thing to you as an artist?
for me
Performing?
performing. I've gotten to be on stages of like from back in my like Christian rapper days, like being on that stage in front of like a couple thousand people or even a couple hundred. It's like having the ability to control the crowd, get them to act to how you're feeling. If you feeling cocky, they gon' I love seeing someone in the crowd rapping my song with me. That's one of my favorite things to see because it's like you're as invested in my mind. You're as invested as I am. We on the same page right now because we in there. So it's like performing, turning people up. That's one of my favorite things to do. Like period. That's just it's so rewarding to see like the crowd react.
So when you go look at your music on like Spotify, down in the section where it shows the distributor and all that, it has QVE Entertainment. What
Mm,
exactly is that?
okay. You asking the good questions. You asking the good questions. Quality versus everything. That's a company that I want to start. I want to I have really big dreams and aspirations, and I have the will to complete them. So it's for quality entertainment. I can't say too much on it because it's already a lot in the works.
Right.
But it's definitely going to be up there. And when it gets like when when it's up there, it's going to be stuck. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. I can't say too much.
So, not I'm sure that you also consume music still, even as an artist. Who is probably your favorite artist at the moment?
Uh, I say Drake. Like some people, like the way Drake pins his verses, and I know some. I know all that, all the talk, but the way Drake the way he communicates his verses to me is top notch. Like it's I love creatives, so it's definitely like I say Drake and Kanye. Those two, you can never really go wrong, especially on my road trips. Oh yeah, there's some albums I'm playing.
So, I have a game I play during these interviews called This or That. I present two artists to you,
Mm,
and you tell me which one you gonna play on the radio first. We got Tory Lanez or Chris Brown,
Tory Lanez,
Bruno Mars or The Weeknd,
The Weeknd,
Jay-Z or Nas,
Jay-Z. I love Nas, but Jay-Z.
Tupac or Biggie,
Ooh, I'm gonna go Biggie. People don't understand. Biggie really be rapping. Biggie be rapping. I have to go Biggie.
G Unit or Slaughterhouse,
G Unit.
Cardi B or Nicki Minaj,
We're gonna have to go to Queen, Miss Nicki Minaj.
XX Tension or Juice World,
X.
Machine Gun Kelly or Kid Cudi,
Kid Cudi.
G-Eazy or Jack Harlow,
I'm gonna go Jack Harlow. I think Jack Harlow's a better rapper than G-Eazy.
I would agree, Kevin Gates or Joyner Lucas,
Mm, that's a good one. I'm gonna go Kevin. I'm gonna go Kevin.
Lupe Fiasco or Wale,
Yeah, Wale. Wale. Wale got some slaps. Nobody want to see Wale in the verses for real, except for like the big artists
yeah,
and me.
Wiz Khalifa or Young Thug,
Young Thug. Hey man, free Thug. Free Thug.
Nelly or Akon,
We gonna go Nelly because he from St. Louis.
Lecrae or NF,
Look crazy. NF be snapping though. That's a hard one. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna go NF.
Outkast or Wu-Tang,
Outcast.
Eminem or The Game,
The Game. No. Never mind. Cause not The Game no more. I say Eminem. Eminem just has that lyrical ability to do whatever he wants on a beat. He can do whatever he wants on the beat, which is crazy.
50 Cent or Jadakiss,
50 Cent. 50 Cent for sure.
E40 or Twista,
Twister. I'm gonna say
you gonna go E40?
yeah.
21 Savage or Kodak Black,
That's good. That's good. I'm gonna say 21. I love Kodak though. I love Kodak, but I'm gonna say 21. Just me personally. Me personally, I love 21.
Ab Soul or Schoolboy Q,
Schoolboy Q. I feel like Absol, he had that layoff, so I'm gonna have to go Schoolboy Q for consistency.
J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar,
J. Cole. I love Kendrick, but J. Cole, I ain't like it's. I feel like J. Cole consistently just stayed putting out heat consistently. Now Kendrick, he has the big like amazing work, big splash of amazing work, but it's so much harder, in my opinion, to over the years consistently keep top tier. But where as making an album, you can take your time and you can craft and do things, but like consistently just putting out heat. That's why I say J. Cole. He's consistent.
Pusha T or Kanye?
Kanye. Pusha's a rapper, but a different breed.
Lil Wayne or Drake?
Oh man, he ain't have that's a man. That's a both. Both. I gotta say both. I can't pick one. I cannot pick
That's fine. That's fine. Royce the 5'9" or Benny the Butcher?
Benny the Butcher. Royce is a very good artist. But Benny's that guy.
Gucci Mane or Jeezy?
Gucci Man. Gucci Man is underrated.
He be dropping some. He still be consistently dropping heat.
Consistently.
Ti or Ludacris?
Nah, I just wanted to say Luda, but I'm gonna go with Ti. Luda is hard. Like that's a hard choice, but I'm gonna go.
Gunna or G Herbo?
I'm gonna go Herb. I feel like Herb got that might be me being a little biased, but man, I grew up listening to Herb. Balling like I'm Kobe. That man different. That man different.
Young Dolph or Nipsey Hussle?
So I didn't get hip to Nipsey until after he died. So all respect, Nipsey's a great artist. All respect to Nipsey, but Young Dolph for me, just because I have been listening to him. He look, he said, "How the hell you miss a whole 100 shots?" Ain't nobody else can say that for real. Nobody else can say that.
I got a couple more here. We got Lil Durk or Lil Baby?
Lil Durk, Lil Durk, Durkio. Man,
Da
different.
Baby or Polo G?
Polo G be snapping.
Polo G, for as young as he is, has like a really well ability to like storytell in his raps.
Yeah, and he's one of those artists that it's just like put a verse in front of him, he's gonna body it. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those artists he can get on another person's song and take over.
Last one I got, Kalani or Summer Walker?
Summer Walker, she be snapping.
What would you say has probably more important to you as an artist on Spotify, your monthly listeners or your followers on there?
I need to get better with promoting on Spotify, where I get a lot of my like views and people who stand by me is on like Apple Music and Spotify. Like I think Apple Music will playlist you. Spotify is becoming a lot more about like getting playlisted,
Yeah.
and it's like I work on there, but it's not the same. I don't. I need to get better, but once I kind of start, because I'm working on building a team. Once I get that all together, it's going to be a lot easier to do so.
Now, when you say you're building a team, are you like building a team with like the guys you kind of grew up with, or like guys you've met through the music industry or through college?
Both.
Both.
Yes, sir. Both. It's like guys I've grown up with and guys I've met on the way. Even family, because I met a lot of producers and I have producers in my family. My brother's a producer in New York. Um, I actually make some of my beats. I don't promote that a lot.
So you got an album coming out, so I'm sure you got quite a few songs in the vault
Yeah.
that you're keeping tucked away.
Yeah.
What would be some advice that you would give to a younger you or a younger kid trying to pursue making music?
Never let like never let anybody kind of dissuade you from chasing your dreams, because in the world we live in today, so many people have have their opinions on what they think you should be doing.
Yeah.
And if you listen to everyone's opinion, then you kind of if you listen to everyone's opinion, you're gonna let your dreams get out your reach.
What is your idea of making it in the music industry?
Mm, I would say my kids, my kids, I'm buying them cars, buying my mama a car. When I buy my mama a car, then I made it.
Um, so quickly, I know you have a modeling event here soon. So briefly, kind of go over some of your discography here. We talked about it earlier. You have an album you dropped, The Takeover, with Latoni earlier this year. What was your guys' like creative process behind that album? Did you guys just like link up, go to the studio, and just start spitting
So
stuff?
that album actually took 2 years, and it was my fault. It was my fault it took so long. So I end up getting into another vibe while I was creating the album. So while I was creating the takeover, I started making Clarity, which was an entirely different ballpark. So I took me a while to kind of, because once as an artist, I immerse myself in the music. So that's how I create. I immerse myself into the music, and so um, we started making right after Euphoria. When I dropped that album, I started making the takeover with Tony, and during that, had to take the little break and come back. But me and Tony, the way we go back and forth over a track, it's just with Lil Tony, man. Me and him, we make songs too easy. So that was kind of the process. It was, but it was fun, definitely.
And then not only did you guys drop an album together this year, you also dropped a solo album at the very beginning of the year back in January. What was your creative process behind Clarity?
So clarity actually came from a lot of real life situations, and like it was my first time stepping into a new box of being an artist that was, more able to show their emotions, more able to create a whole vision, a movie. Clarity with you, and I love that, like some of the feedback I got from it, because there was, people telling me they felt everything I said. And for an artist, or at least an artist like me, that's the biggest compliment you can give me, because it's like, okay, what I'm trying to tell you, you're understanding. And so they a lot of people tell me they felt immersed in the vibe and the feelings. And so it was just like, that's what I was the whole time I was making it. I was immersed in the feelings because I was living them, but also being able to communicate them. It just, it was therapy for me in a time when I was going through it. So that's how I made Clarity. And it was an experience, man. It was definitely one of my favorite albums to make. I would have to say my favorite album to make. I actually have it tatted on me. So yeah.
In 2020, you released an 8-track album, Euphoria.
Mm.
Was this like your debut album, or did you already have like an album out on SoundCloud?
Mm, I would say that is like my debut album.
What was
Right or
the
Wrongs came off there. Um, what is it? You have there's so many songs on there that were like people still to this day like tell me they love. So it's like That's one of my man. Yeah, that was the like first album where I really just got to let loose and rap. Cause before I had like even with being considered in the lane of Christian rap, it was I couldn't say certain things. That was the first album where I was just letting loose. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna make a song about whatever I want to make a song about. But this next album the next album that I have coming is me showing my rapping ability, my singing ability, my ability to change the vibe, to tell a story, to create a painting and an image in someone's head. So it's like I've really been working, and y'all are gonna see the fruits of my labor when I drop it.
What was the creative process behind your WTW freestyle?
So a lot of my freestyles, I will get in I will get in the booth and freestyle. So it's like I'm coming off the head. Like one thing I like to freestyle. I like to get on the track and kind of just like this is what I got. Like I'm also I love to write, but I'm the type like on the takeover. There's some songs, some verses where I freestyled the whole thing, and there's some where I wrote the whole thing. Um, right or wrongs, the first part, like chorus, wrote the chorus, wrote the first part of the verse. Second part of the verse, I freestyled. Like like if you ever talk to Tony, Tony will see like there's a story I wanted to tell. Um, I was like on one of the songs on there. I'm gonna let you find it. I don't know if I ooh, but I was eating mac and cheese. So I didn't know I was on the song. So I went to go get food. I got some mac and cheese. I came back. He's like, "Look, just in time for your verse." I'm like, "My verse didn't have anything written. The part right there, I'm the last verse. And when you're the last verse, it's like you gotta come. You're the
Yeah,
last verse.
you're the closer. You
So
gotta bring the heat.
I got on there and I started freestyling, and I snapped, and it was shoot. Tony will tell you it was a funny moment. It was a funny experience. It was a fun experience because we was just in there like, look, man, go ahead, go crazy, do you, J.Q. And I'm like, all right, I got you. But no,
What was your creative process behind the song you released back in June, Preach?
preach. So preach is me stepping into a new lane. Um, I love alternative music. I love to create alternative music. I love to listen to alternative music. And so preach and clarity to an extent was me stepping into a new lane and experiencing it and seeing where like what I could do in that lane. And I like that's something I definitely plan to revisit because I love to make music like that. I love to make alternative. I love to rap. I love to like in other words like get on the track and spit. So it's like there's so much stuff in my bag that I haven't been able to show yet. But once it all gets out there, it's gonna be something.
And then the last song I'll have you talk about before my last question is Patience, which you just dropped back on August 26th.
Mhm.
What was the creative process behind that?
So I started working with a new producer, and this producer, he goes to school down in Detroit. I started working with him, and he gets me beats that he's a, I call him Wolf. His name is Wyatt Foreman. Great producer, and he gives me beats that I can just feel like I can just destroy. So it's like, when I like working with him, it just like when you work with other people who are good at what they do, it just elevates you. So he helped me elevate by giving me a beat that I could just do everything I needed to do on.
Um, it's just I'm gonna give you the floor to plug anything you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, floor is yours to plug everything you got going on.
All right, look, I got an album coming out soon. I am going to drop maybe one or two singles before this out. But I'm gonna need y'all to turn me up. I'm gonna need y'all to turn up with me. Y'all are gonna see. It's gonna be a journey. That's all I gotta say.
Make sure everyone likes, comment, and subscribes. All of OnlyJay.Q's links will be in the description below. His Spotify, his Apple, and his YouTube page, and his Instagram. So make sure to tap in if you're an artist and you're wanting a feature. I advise reaching out. Talented dude. I appreciate you coming on, man.
I appreciate you working with me, man. Sorry for the technical difficulties, man. We gonna have to do this again, man. Appreciate it for real.
No problem, man. Take it easy.
You too.